Hello, my people. If you're new here, my name is Daddy Doyen, aka the Demonatrix. I am a lifestyle and professional dom and fine dom, kink educator, burlesque performer, and classically trained chef. I am also the founder of the Kinky Kafe LLC, a home for queer kinksters everywhere. We offer events, event planning, kink education, guidance in the art of conscious BDSM, and an opportunity to connect with community wherever you are. We have membership available for special member perks, so if you like what we're about, give us a follow over there and tell a friend. So pull up a chair, get cozy, let's have a chat. The art of consent. So most of us know the baseline of consent. No means no, yes means yes. But there's so much more to the concept of consent than just that. In kink spaces, we talk about enthusiastic consent a lot. BDSM protocol uses a handful of acronyms to describe what will or will not be consented to within a scene. First, there's SSC. So that's safe, sane, consensual. What that means is both parties enter into the scene knowing that according to their own limits, this act is safe, sane, and consensual. Then there's RAC, risk-aware consensual kink. What this means is you both enter into the scene knowing that what you are about to do causes, has some risks, but according to your own limits, that's okay. You're still willing to do the scene. And both people have consented to do the scene despite the risks that are there. Then there's PRIC, personal responsibility, informed consensual kink. In this situation, both parties understand that it is their personal responsibility to disclose anything that might interrupt the scene, might harm you or the other person, disclose anything that might be going on with them. A lot of times that includes different mental illnesses and disabilities, things like that. But you enter into the scene knowing that it is each individual's personal responsibility to report these things to keep themselves safe. What this does is it takes some of that pressure off of the dominant partner, only because a lot of times, or in a lot of situations or scenes, the dominant is usually the one expected to be hyper aware of or act on these principles, basically. For instance, if you have PTSD and it can be triggered by certain acts, that is your personal responsibility to disclose before you enter a scene, because then you can be triggered by something. But if your play partner does not know about this thing, how can they be responsible for it? That is your personal responsibility to inform the other partner. Now, the last one we don't really talk about often in everyday or in the kink community at large. But thanks to Coach Feline, we are learning a little bit more about it. And if you check them out on IG, it is Coach Feline. I will drop their information here. TIC is trauma-informed consensual kink. Now, this is very specific, and there is a reason that it hasn't been really spoken about so far in traditional kink circles, or I should say long established kink circles, because it's with more and more people of color entering the kink scene. It has also become a matter of communal safety to understand this type of protocol. So when I say trauma-informed consensual kink, I mean that both players are aware of things like the inherited trauma of the other player. So, for instance, if you are Black or Indigenous, you might only want to play with another Black or Indigenous person because they are aware of your inherited trauma. All of these acts are consenting, but someone could change their mind in the middle of a scene. They could change their mind right before a scene. An enthusiastic yes is the cue that you're looking for. If someone hesitates, that means no. Hang on means no. Maybe means no. Means no. I don't know means no. Maybe later means no, unless enthusiastically consented to at a later time. Until then, it means no. Unless you hear yes, absolutely, yes sir, yes daddy, yes mistress, yes mistress, goddess, king, yes please, it's a no. So we understand consent. Anything but an enthusiastic yes is a no. What if we take the concept of consent and expanded it into our vanilla relationships and day-to-day life? Or what if we take it a step even further and take enthusiastic consent, or the practice of it, into our relationship with self? First, your everyday. I think that in this capitalist world where hustle is a necessity, things like emotions and care often get thrown to the wayside. And a little vanilla consent could go a very long way. For instance, I know that sometimes we can be going through really big things, or we're dealing with really, really big emotions. And a lot of times we want to get those big emotions off our chests and unload on a close friend. But we put trigger warnings on our social media. So put a trigger warning on your conversations. Some folks might struggle with PTSD around things like sexual assault, self-harm, domestic violence, or suicide. Remember that just like how you exchange power in a DS dynamic, you are exchanging energies with the people around you. Preface big conversations with something like, hey, do you have space for me to vent about something with you? If they say no, respect that no. If you are the person being asked, don't feel pressured to give a yes when you don't mean it. That's what enthusiastic consent is about. Another example is something that I have to remind my son of all the time, and I have to remind my damn self. Some people really love touch. Some people really don't like touch. You may be the type of person who uses your hands a lot when you speak, and I can understand that. My hands flail a lot unless I'm clasping them like so. But some people, when they speak to you, they they like to, or they'll tap you on your knee, or they'll do something like that. Just because you're that type of person, that doesn't mean that the other person just has to automatically agree with the way that you emote. Before you start a deep conversation, it's as simple as saying, hey, I got a little handsy when I have a deep conversation. I might tap you here, I might touch your shoulder. Is that okay with you, or would you rather I refrain? Consent is easy if you care to practice it. Consent with self is knowing when spirit is giving you a no or an enthusiastic yes. When it's an enthusiastic yes, you often don't have to think about it. It just makes sense. When it's a no, that can be a little harder to navigate with ourselves. Say you agreed to go to this party weeks ago. You've had it planned for weeks, and the party's coming up in like 2 days, but you've had the week from hell. Say you're a neurodivergent being and you've been battered with overstimulation for the entire week. Your friends are still dumb hype about heading out to this party, talking about outfits and what kind of food's gonna be there, and you just know that you are on the verge of burnout. But they're so excited, and you've had this plan for weeks, and you feel obligated to go. Come here, let me ask you something. If that party were someone who was asking to have sex with you, would you feel like that were an enthusiastic yes? Would you feel like you could give an enthusiastic yes to that person? I didn't think so. This is practicing enthusiastic consent with self. If it's not an enthusiastic yes, it's a no. And that's okay. Another example. You've gained some weight and you haven't been feeling good about yourself. It's really hard for you to lose weight, but your coworker just told you about some miracle pill. All the ingredients are in Russian, and at least a third of those ingredients have never been approved by the FDA. But you'll lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Given this information, you have a few choices. Either learn to love the body that you're in, go on a diet and exercise plan that doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, doesn't make you feel like you're being starved, and doesn't make you feel unhealthy. Or take that weird pill. Whether or not you choose option 1 or option 2, that third option is making you feel uneasy. It's a no. If it's not an enthusiastic yes, it's a no. Remember that consent is sexy, and it's not just a practice that we have in the bedroom. It follows us into the vanilla world, and most importantly, we practice it with ourselves. Being able to have a relationship of enthusiastic consent with oneself is the most thrilling, liberating, and healing practice that one can have in reality. It's the basis of self-love. It's the basis of self-care. It's the basis of being able to trust yourself as your one and only true master. If you'd like to learn more about conscious BDSM and healing through kink for the queer kink community, I would like to extend an invitation to the Kinky Cafe's recurring workshop, Exploring Our Depths. This next workshop will be virtual on February 4th, and I will drop the ticket link down below. Exploring Our Depths combines mindfulness, mirror work, somatic healing, and conscious BDSM and kink. It's not as risque as it sounds. We explore how impact play can be used as bodywork for somatic healing. Kinky Cafe Society members get 30% off with their VIP discount. You can find membership on our Patreon, which I will also drop below. It's only $5 per month for basic membership. The Daddy's Table tier is only $10 per month, where you get basic membership perks along with access to me for further support, as well as Daddy's love notes, words of affirmation, motivation, inspiration, and adoration from yours truly. And the last tier is our donation tier, where you get all of it combined, as well as you are helping the Kinky Cafe to grow and establish itself. We would really, really appreciate your support. And thank you so much in advance. Thank you, my kinky friend. And remember, you're not broken, just a little bent.